Hello and welcome to the live edition of the Cyclone Insider podcast and stream. I'm Travis Hines. He's Randy Peterson. We are coming to you from the Jacobson building outside of Jack Trice Stadium, where Iowa State was a 31-14 victor over West Virginia on Saturday night, giving Iowa State its first Big 12 victory of the season. Round of applause for the Cyclones getting off the zero in the Big 12 win column. Randy, I think a lot to digest from this game, but I think starting right there, getting that first win after 5 straight losses is victory enough for whatever comes next. Iowa State is not going to go 0-9 in the Big 12.
Yeah, wow, that was certainly out there. It was certainly out there for the taking, especially the way the offense has been playing. But it was like Tom Manning and Campbell decided that nothing to lose. Let's open up the whole playbook, and they dusted off those pages that, geez, some of those pages we hadn't seen in a long time. And actually, Decker's even took some snaps under center. I asked him if he went rogue when he did it, or were they actually called, and he laughed and said they were actually called. So yeah, it was good to see that Iowa State finally won a Big 12 game. We've been hearing that they were close all along. We'd been hearing that the running backs weren't as bad as their statistics appeared, and today we actually saw it. Saw that happen with Jirehl Brock barely playing. So all in all, yeah, this is something Iowa State needed. Got confidence now a little bit, maybe. It beats the alternative going to Oklahoma State next Saturday to face an Oklahoma State team that's going to be madder than hell. Motivated to get back in the winning mode. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the story is Iowa State so far outplayed West Virginia through 3 quarters and still went into the fourth quarter just up 3 points at 10-7. They had missed opportunity after opportunity to separate and get away from West Virginia, which clearly was the inferior team, and they just did not have the opportunity, to where did not take advantage of the opportunity to where you're in the second play of the fourth quarter and you're punting from inside your own 25-yard line, I think, giving West Virginia the ball back early in the fourth quarter with a chance to tie or take the lead. And then West Virginia completely bails you out with a roughing the kicker penalty, and Iowa State finally takes advantage, goes down the field, scores a touchdown, and then was able to flip that momentum, roll that momentum over, get 2 more touchdowns, score on their final 3 possessions of the game. And it really felt like they had finally taken advantage of their opportunities. Now the question is, does this represent a step? Does that fourth quarter represent a step forward for the Iowa State offense? Or is it West Virginia is also a 1-win Big 12 team that screwed up playing on the road, gave the home team a chance to finally, put an end to things? I think that's the question, and it'll be interesting to see what we find out next week against an Oklahoma State team that is playing terribly and horribly banged up right now. But again, whichever one of those is true, Iowa State has its first win. Like, Randy, it's been since the middle of September since Iowa State won a football game. So it has been a long time.
Wow, you're right. It has been. 5 losses in a row. In those 5 losses, Iowa State had not gained rushing more than 71 yards. In any of those games. It's been one thing. It's been one thing after another. My phone keeps going off here. It's been one thing after another. Now, what, as you alluded to, what's this mean going forward? I don't have any idea, but it beats the alternative. And I don't think this team would have ever cashed it in anyway. And they certainly hadn't in the past few weeks. They had not. But this victory and the way it happened, I don't care how it happened. I would say just needed a victory. But the way it happened and with the fourth quarter that I didn't go back and I I didn't do the math and figure out how many yards Iowa State had in the fourth quarter, but my gosh, they had to have considerable most of their yards in the fourth quarter. I'm assuming. So it can't hurt. I mean, they can't hurt for the momentum next week, and we know Iowa State's won at Stillwater. And like you said, Oklahoma State's got injuries, but I'm certainly not going to say that Iowa State's going to go in there favored or anything like that. Iowa State had one good game out of the last however many, 6, 5. They've had one winning game out of the last 5, and I'm certainly not ready to say that this program has turned around. This is a step towards that, but that's essentially all it is.
Yeah, Iowa State scored as many touchdowns in the fourth quarter, 3, as they had in any Big 12 game up to this point. They got 3 against Texas, 3 against Baylor in the opener, and then the other 3 games they scored 1 or 0. So again, I don't know that taking 45 minutes of football before you finally figure it out offensively is any great leap forward. But again, when you're starting with where Iowa State was starting from going into this game, I think is undoubtedly and unequivocally a step forward. The side of the ball that hasn't taken a step forward, they just keep by leaps and bounds being the best on this team, is the defense. I mean, I don't know. I think we've run out of things to say over the last 6 years about Iowa State's defense, but what John Haycock's group is doing right now is as effective as I think any of Haycock's defenses that we've seen at Iowa State, and those have been some pretty damn good defenses with some pretty damn good players on it.
Well, and look what Colby Reeder did today. I mean, he's been out. He didn't play last week, and today he leads Iowa State with in tackles, or shared the lead in tackles, whatever. Yeah, we take that side of the ball for granted, and that's fine. They're not great. There's still some work. There's work that needs to be done. They've not played a perfect game, but by golly, they've been the most consistent position group on the field. Clearly, the best. Iowa State's best part of the best part of the Iowa State team, and to their credit, they've continued to carry this program. Maybe not just this year, but in years past. So it's incredible the way this defense has played. I mean, the back end today, I thought, golly, I can't remember too many times, if any, that West Virginia had a receiver wide open, which in past we've seen that. We've seen opponents have that. Sure, there were some plays that went for yards, but I don't know how many 3-and-outs West Virginia had. I don't have my stats in front of me, but trust me, there were a ton of them, and it's not necessarily because West Virginia's got a horrible offense, which sure it wasn't very good. Iowa State's defense is pretty darn good as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the secondary is really what separates this group from or distinguishes is probably the better way to say it, this group from previous Iowa State teams with what they have at corner and the safety positions is a pretty talented group and a mix of veterans and youth that really separates them. I mean, they've had better linebacking cores. I think they've had better defensive lines, but I don't think they've probably had a better secondary than the group that they've got there right now. And I think that's fueling what Iowa State has been able to do defensively. I guess, Randy, now the question is 3 games to go. Is a bowl game back on the table for you? Does this move the needle towards likelihood in a major way for you or no?
It doesn't move. It moves the needle a little bit, sure, because it's certainly, it's another, it moves the needle, but I don't know how much. I mean, is Iowa State really going to go to TCU and win?
Well, I mean, I think what moves the needle, again, I agree with you. This win probably does not move the needle at all for me, but Oklahoma State losing like 80-16 the last 2 weeks.
Right.
It's kind of interesting. I don't know how healthy they're going to be next week, or even if it'll matter because West Virginia, I don't think was a very good football team. So maybe it won't matter, but man, like that makes it more intriguing that they've gotten their breaks beat off the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. And Yeah, okay. Texas Tech played pretty well today, I think, at time or early at least in that game against TCU, and I think that's probably a winnable game if the Iowa State offense plays like it played today. I think that's a winnable game in 2 weeks. So I don't know. And I wrote about it this week, and yeah, Iowa State can back into a bowl with 5. If Iowa State gets 5 wins, and yeah, it's even possible to back into a bowl like that.
Count. That don't count.
It don't count. Then what do you?
I remember a coach of a program at Iowa State referring to programs that care about 6 and 6 as a profanity. How about that? So I don't know that 5 and 7 you can feel like you've achieved a ton.
But dude, as long I know you and I are just doing this to argue, but
I've got strong feelings about 5 and 7 teams going to bowl games.
Then what are you going to do? Then you're just going to bang the bowls? You're not going to have those bowls? There's a lot of money.
Obviously,
there.
Any coach. Well, not the money. I think it would be the 10 practices or 13 practices. Or
I know that, but you're not going to just say, okay, well, you can't have a bowl game this year. You can't. There's not enough teams that are available for the bowl. Oh, you're saying Iowa State should just say
I'm saying if Iowa State makes a bowl at 5 and 7, I don't give them like any sort of credit other than going 5 and 7.
Well, I agree with that exactly, but it's a system. You've got. It's like that. It's like the replay that we both hate. It's the system. We're going to have it, and with the bowl game, you've got 41 bowl games or some ridiculous number like that. Maybe not that many. What is it? I don't even remember. Too many. But what are you going to do? You're going to tell a bowl that you can't play. You can't have a bowl game this year because there's not enough 6-win teams. I'm not saying there won't be enough 6-win teams. I'm not saying that at all, but it's possible. And you brought up the 15 practice or whatever, the 15 practices, I think it is. Coaches get off on that. They love that. So, man, I agree with you. I agree with you that there's an asterisk by a 5-win bowl opponent, but nonetheless, somebody's going to get in with 5. Somebody could get in with 5 wins, and it might as well be, I don't know, be Iowa State and let Campbell and the staff work their magic in the 15 practices and see what happens.
He's Randy Peterson. I'm Travis Hines. This has been the Cyclone Insider podcast and stream following Iowa State's 31-14 victory over West Virginia. Be sure to check out DesMoinesRegister.com for all of your Iowa State football coverage needs. And starting Monday, Iowa State basketball season is underway. So be sure to check out both for the men's and women's seasons that get underway this week. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next time.